Hello, I'm Gary Krause, and I'm standing in front of a house here in northeast Cambodia where a global mission pioneer is sharing the love of Jesus. Welcome to Global Mission Snapshots, where we take you right to the front lines of mission around the world.
Just before he went up to heaven, Jesus gave us a command. He gave us a mission. Jesus said, "Go. Go unto all the world, telling them of His love." This is our mission. This is our global mission.
Hello and welcome to Global Mission Snapshots. I'm Gary Krause. If you walked out your front door and asked your neighbors if they'd ever heard the name Jesus, what would they say? Of course, if you lived somewhere such as India or Burma or Mauritania or anywhere in the 1040 window for that matter, you'll probably get a very different answer than if you live in the Bible Belt of the United States. If we look at the entire world population, more than 7 billion people, only 1 in 3 consider themselves a follower of Jesus Christ. And let me tell you, it's a sobering thing to meet a young person or an adult who in their entire lives has never, ever even heard the name Jesus. Jesus gave us a commission to carry the good news to every tribe, language, and people. And that's what Global Mission is all about, helping lead people to know and accept Jesus. On today's program, Dan Weber introduces us to Seventh-day Adventists in China who are following Jesus' example and literally touching the lives of lepers. And I'll also be talking with Rick Kajira about Global Mission Pioneers, those frontline lay church planters who are carrying the good news to unreached areas and unreached people groups. But first up, let's meet some Global Mission Pioneers from Ethiopia and a pioneer mission movement pastor in Japan.
This is Pastor Lee Sung-hoo, a pioneer mission movement pastor from Korea. He is leading the Amami Oshima Church in Japan. Pastor Lee has been working here for the past 5 years and has grown this small church to more than 30 members. But things were not always this way. Amami Oshima is a small island located off the southern coast of Japan. It has beautiful sandy beaches, smooth rivers that wind through the mangroves, and is home to silk plantations that produce some of the finest fabrics in the world. About 66,000 people live on this semi-tropical island, whose warm weather is an attractive alternative to the cold mainland. When Pastor Lee first arrived, there were only a handful of members, and he found it very different from what he was used to in Korea. Not only was the culture different, but the church members were different as well. He found it hard to relate to his members and struggled in trying to earn their trust. After a few years, Pastor Lee decided to take the matter to the Lord in prayer. He submitted himself and his ministry to God. It was then that he found the answer. He dedicated his ministry to becoming a servant to his members. Pastor Lee then felt that he truly reached them, and the church became like a family. The members then wanted to share this new feeling with their families and friends, and at that point the church started to grow. Mr. Fukumoto is the head elder of the Amami Oshima Church. He and his wife run a small sushi shop not far from where the church meets. When he became an Adventist, he decided to close his shop on Sabbath, the busiest day of the week. His friends expected his shop to close, but instead it thrived. His commitment to God allowed his business to be busier than ever. Mrs. Osaka has been a longtime member of the church. Her husband, however, would not attend church. He is an avid kendo instructor and felt that he didn't need the church in his life. Kendo was his religion. But recently he started to attend the church because of the happiness that his wife feels there. This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offering will provide a much-needed church for the group of believers in Amami Oshima. They currently rent a small room above a restaurant, and each Sabbath the room is packed for church. The new church building will provide more evangelistic opportunities to this small group. Growth for the Adventist Church has been slow in Japan, so it's a blessing to have such a vibrant and growing congregation. Thank you for your faithful support of the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church around the world.
Talesa Kano has lived in these rugged Ethiopian hills his entire life. The vast majority of the country's 85 million people live outside the cities, surviving on the food they manage to grow. Each day, he travels by foot to meet with his neighbors. He speaks their language. He knows their struggles. He is trusted by those around him. Talesa is a global mission pioneer. After Bible study and prayer, he continues to the next home, at times an 8-hour journey. He built a church for the growing congregation with his own money. Many people from this region believe in idol worship. They are haunted by superstition and fear. This is the first time they will have heard the name Jesus. Please continue to pray for our global mission pioneers. Around the world, thousands of pioneers like Talesa are working to share God's message of love with those around them. Because of your support, Talesa is finding much success on the hillsides of rural Ethiopia.
I just love that video showing the sacrifice, the commitment, the sheer hard work of being a global mission pioneer. I've been joined by Rick Kajira, who is the communication director for Global Mission. And Rick, Global Mission Pioneers, the program began almost 20 years ago in 1993. In a nutshell, what is a Global Mission Pioneer?
A Global Mission Pioneer is a lay church planter who goes out into unreached areas and lives there for several years on a small stipend, and his goal is to share Jesus with the people and start a small congregation.
Now, these pioneers are usually young people, but we've had pioneers into their 70s. There's no age limit. Now, they have a seminary education, they have PhDs in theology and church planting?
No, they do get some training, but these are lay people who just have a real burden and a heart to share Jesus with people who have never heard the gospel.
Now, we don't have the exact statistics, but there are some who say that the majority of new Seventh-day Adventist churches that have been planted in the past 20 years were planted by Global Mission Pioneers.
Right, and we don't have the statistics because we don't track it that specifically, but we do know that when we go to different areas of the world, we're always seeing new churches and pioneers who are at the heart of those.
You get the opportunity to visit some of these pioneers where they're working. Do you have like a favorite story that you can share with us?
Oh, trying to choose one is what's hard sometimes because the pioneers are inspiring people. They love what they're doing, and I can think of one pioneer in the country of India, and you were there, we both met him, and he shared how he had gone into a village, and he started talking about Jesus in the village square, and a crowd gathered, And in this village, he said, you didn't see very often where you had a crowd like that, and it was attracting attention. And it attracted the attention of some people who didn't want Christians in the village. And so they came to him and they said, we don't want you in this village, and we especially don't want you talking about Christ. If you keep doing it, we're going to kill you. And he kept doing it. And so they grabbed him and they started to beat him, and they held him for several hours. And finally, somebody called the police, and the police came out, and he's thinking, at last, you know, the police have me. But they took him to the police station, and they kept him there for hours and interrogated him, trying to get him to admit that he was doing something wrong, like he was bribing people to come listen to him or something. He says, and when he wouldn't confess, they started to beat him too. And he said, I just didn't know what to do. So finally I said, look, call the Seventh-day Adventist Church headquarters in the country here. And finally somebody did, and somebody explained. They still kept him till late into the night before they finally let him go. And you know, for most people, when you've had that experience and you're working in a district, you know, that's the one area you wouldn't go back to.
Right.
You'd go to some other area and say, you know, well, they don't want me there. Let me try and see if things are a little better here. But no, he went back to the village, and he started talking about Jesus in the public square again. And those people came again, and they said, we told you not to come here. You know, we don't like Christians. Get out. And he said, I am here. He says, I'm not leaving, and I'm talking about Jesus. And they slowly just sort of melted away in the crowd. Reminds me of a Bible story, but they just melted away. And he said he started talking about Jesus. And in that whole district, he had about 2,000 people when he finished his time as a pioneer.
Yeah, amazing. Just, it's humbling when you meet a pioneer like that. Now, speaking of which, about a month ago, I was in Cambodia in Southeast Asia, and I got to meet some global mission pioneers working there. And, you know, in Cambodia, we didn't have any Seventh-day Adventist believers. After the Pol Pot regime, we actually had Adventist workers going in to see if they could locate any Adventists in the entire country. Today, the church has grown rapidly. But, you know, the logistics are difficult in a country like Cambodia. Just getting from one church plant to another. This pioneer had a motorbike. Last time I was in Cambodia, most pioneers didn't even have a bicycle, and they've got lots of territory to cover. And they are working with people who come from just a completely different background. Yep. They, you know, I was telling you earlier, Rick, that I was walking along the road, and I started talking with some people there, and there were the two girls, teenagers. And I just said to them, have you ever heard of the name Jesus? They looked at each other, looked puzzled, frowned, and through an interpreter said no. And that really hit me hard, that, you know, and so we have pioneers working in these sort of circumstances.
We're willing to go out.
Willing to go out, but they can't sort of like just open up the Bible and have it recognized. People have never seen a Bible before. And so they build relationships with the people, they build confidence with the people, and then they get the opportunity to share about Jesus. And as I saw these people worshiping for the first time, it just touched my heart that because of the dedication of the pioneers, people are learning for the first time about Jesus.
Yeah, and global mission pioneers, I mean, the heart they have and the places they're willing to go and the obstacles they're willing to overcome.
We're looking at, I'm not sure exactly how much in Cambodia, but I'm guessing maybe $60 to $100 a month is what they're living on, just a basic stipend which gives them a room to live in, a few materials, but you know, often they're supporting their entire families. So it's not an easy task, but you never meet a global mission pioneer who complains.
No, I don't think I ever have.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, Rick, and sharing just quickly a little bit about global mission pioneers.
It's good to be here.
And to viewers at home, thank you so much for your continuing prayers for pioneers. It can get lonely, it can be challenging, it can be very difficult on the front lines of mission. Please don't go away. We'll be back soon after this break to visit the country of China. Welcome back. China, nearly 1.4 billion people. What a complex, changing, dynamic place. Dan Weber, you are the video producer for Global Mission.
Yep.
You get to visit places like China, and you know, your visits there, you meet with pastors, lay people, you go to the churches. What has touched your heart when you visited there?
There's more than 400,000 members there. People realize, some people think that China's a black hole and there's no members there. We have a large population there. I mean, not large compared to the population of the country, but there's a good number of members there. One thing struck me, my first Sabbath in a church there, I'm in Shenyang, which is up the northern part, right north of northern Vietnam, very cold. The largest Adventist church in the world is there, over 7,000 members, pastored by a woman, started as a church plant in 1985 with 5 people. Now, it itself is spread out, and there's 118 church plants that have gone off of that one church plant that started. But I'm sitting in church service on Sabbath, and what really touched me was when the sermon is done, the members sing a song, and it blew me away. I was not prepared for what happened. And we have that song for you in a video right now.
Great.
Let's take a look at that.
That's beautiful, Dan. It brings back some memories of when I visited Shenyang some years ago and visited with the pastor and with her elders.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember how many elders there were, but these leaders were larger than your average Adventist church. I mean, this is the biggest Adventist church I've ever visited in my life. But as you say, church plants all around it, many home churches.
We spent a whole day just going and visiting church plants. We only made it to 8 of them, and we drove for hours just to get out to these places. It really shows what church planting can do and how it can start and grow and multiply.
Multiply, exactly.
But what really is great there is the involvement of the lay members. It started off as something small, but they get the members involved. And they have prayer meeting every Friday morning at 5 a.m. and the members come together and they have prayer service together, and then they go out and they do things in the community to do outreach in the community. It's a great example for all of us. We really can learn from it.
And you come to church on Sabbath morning and there's church members there at 5 o'clock praying.
Yeah.
They start early.
Yeah.
Now, recently you also visited a special ministry to lepers. Tell us about that.
Well, again, this kind of goes along the point where lay members get involved. And last year, I was getting ready for my second trip to China to go visit. I'm sitting on the plane in Baltimore, and I get an email on my phone, and I check it, and it's from Charlotte Scanning in our office, who writes the Mission Quarterly, and she says, "I've just got this great story. You need to be able to film this." And I looked over her story real quick, and I said, "I'll try." And I shot an email off to the guy who was meeting me in Shanghai about a day later and said, "Can we get this story?" And when I landed in San Francisco, there was an email back from him saying, "We're going to get the story, whatever it takes." A day later, I was up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go catch a train to drive out to get this great story about young people who are committed, very, very committed. I've never seen commitment like this before. It's wonderful.
Now, we get the picture sometimes that in China, restrictions are so strict that the church can't operate. It can operate at a certain level in certain places, and it varies from place to place. Well, I really want to have a look at this video, but before we look at it, how many young people are involved in this ministry?
There's probably about 80 young people, and they have 18 different locations throughout China. And in the story, we'll see more. But it's just, I was blown away. The young girl, she's 18 years old. She had a career path set for her, and she decided that she wanted to make a commitment to serving as Christ's hands here on earth.
Wonderful. Well, we've heard the introduction. Let's travel to China now to see how ministry to lepers is taking place. Sometimes we think of it only in Bible times. Here it is today.
In the country of China, the situation of the lepers has become a great tragedy. There are 600 colonies and more than 250,000 lepers.
The first time I saw the lepers and I looked upon their faces, I felt a great pain inside my heart. But I felt called to serve them because they are the sons and daughters of God. These people were abandoned by society, and they feel that they don't belong. Our goal is to help them feel special, that they are loved, but we also want them to know that Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice for them, that they are redeemed, and there is a kingdom for them.
I went to China in 2006 and saw the situation with the lepers and found out that not one Adventist was working to help them. I wanted to do something to help. We are involved with 18 projects, and we have more than 70 volunteers. We live among the people in the colony, we eat with them, we serve them.
Jesus Christ served the people. He provided for their needs. That is what we are trying to do here. We want to help these people and to provide for their needs, just like Jesus did.
So far, 327 lepers have been baptized. My goal is to train these new converts to serve and help other lepers.
The first time we touch the wounds of the lepers, it helps them to feel that someone cares about them. Through this, we are showing the love of Jesus to them. We are earning their trust.
Welcome back to Global Mission Snapshots. You know, it means so much to Global Mission pioneers to know that there are people around the world supporting them and praying for them. Each quarter, Global Mission produces a newsletter with stories, news, photos, prayer requests, and so much more direct from the front lines of mission. If you'd like to see and read more about Global Mission pioneers, then make sure you're receiving Frontline Edition. In North America, you can simply call toll-free 1-800-648-5824 and request this free offer 301. Or you can visit our website at adventistmission.org/offer 301. Don't forget to clearly state your name, full address, and be sure to mention Frontline Edition or offer 301 so we'll know what you're requesting. Again, in North America, just call toll-free the number on your screen, 1-800-648-5824, and ask for offer 301 or Frontline Edition. Or it's easy to visit our website at adventistmission.org, offer 301. Well, thanks for joining us today on Global Mission Snapshots, and thank you so much for your continuing prayers, personal involvement, and financial support for Global Mission pioneers who are starting new Seventh-day Adventist congregations in so many parts of the world. For Global Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope you can join us next time right here on Global Mission Snapshots.